And we're back with Richard Reviews. Today we're reviewing a book for richardreviews.com/Griffin Chestnut here on YouTube. Today's book that Richard has for us and he will be reviewing for us is, of course, A Personal Matter by Kenzaburo Oi. This is translated from the original Japanese version by John Nathan. John Nathan does a lot of American translations from the Japanese version, and the Japanese version, of course, is a little more intense. It's more bleak and fresh. But of all the translations you can get from the Japanese version, John Nathan's is the most effective. As for the piece itself, this is Richard's personal piece that we have here. We're going to talk about the whole piece, everything involved in it, everything not involved in it, and some things that really cultivate Richard's interest in this piece at hand. This is his official piece. It's a soft cover, as you can tell. We're going to talk about the condition of the piece, how it entered Richard's collection, how it escalated and rise to the top in Richard's collection, and how he cultivated it and he transcribed it through his notility in life. If you want to support Richard's channel, please give it a like. Richard is here and he's here to review it. This is Richard's official piece, which he obtained this piece in 2014. And he also completed reading this piece in 2014 as well. Richard, of course, purchased this from a private contractor, considering the fact that it was very hard to track down, being that this is a rare piece. It's a rare book. And Richard tracked it down through his private contractor, who goes by the online alias of Arn Johnson. And Mr. Arn lives in the upper Yukon region in the Canadian Valley, next to British Columbia, which was a bit of a hike for Richard considering he's from upstate New York near the town of Schenectady. Richard does a lot of snow work out there considering that the winters are harsh, and while he was doing a lot of hiking, camping, working on his shed, he did manage to read this entire piece. And he completed reading it in the same year of 2014. So this is Richard's personal piece that he has for us today. And we're going to get into everything, how this brings Richard back to childhood, what he cultivated, and how accurately it describes a relationship between the story, the contents of the story, the way he talks to his son, the man behind the pen, and everything about anybody who was born after the year 1934. 1934 was a big year for Kenzaburo Oi, and he never went to prison, but he did write about the Vietnam War in a very emotional way, and how atrocities are created by humanity by 700 years and 800 years in the future. He's a respected member of the literature community, and there's really no descriptions that aren't accurate enough to describe his university and the semesters he took when he attended such would amount to anything. And these things, every time they publish a story and they come down, he writes an email, he gets sent a box of cookies. The college professor formulates a type of linguistic fantasy, which you can get fired on the first day of work, but not Mr. Kenzaburo Oi. He is overheard in many aspects of life to write adult comic famous fantasy fiction, and he pushes it towards the media, and it's been a little contemptuous. His temper towards the public hasn't been great. Most oblivious to this whole mess, of course, are many examples, are his favorites, such as John Underwood, Maria Garcia, and Yoko Shuna Kawabato. Many others in the Japanese community from the country of Japan felt the need to be the receiver on the postage stamp. When it was delivered, he had a reputation for physically assaulting other authors. For instance, the author that took into account his negotiable Waffle House, which was built in 1987 and was directed by Harlan Ellison. A beautiful notion, a beautiful book, and a beautiful story from Kenzaburo Oi. Let's take a look at the condition of this piece. Since it's Richard's, this is his personal piece. Like we said earlier, it is soft cover. It doesn't have great bend, but it does have some bend. The weight is pretty negligible, and it has a good idea of the weight. There is a phantom sticker here, which was peeled off prior to Richard's purchase of this, and it looks like there's another one here, as well as over here, and a little bit this way. If we turn it upside down, you can get a better view of this one and this one. It's definitely deviated to the center, okay? And the original image is fortified to inject itself into a cultivated mishmash of sardines, lemon spinach, piano juice, and a little bit of banana oil. And these things are rubbed in gently. And Richard stole the idea. Richard really did like the idea, so he took it. As we look at the condition at the top, there is some subpar writing on here, which could ultimately mean two things. That Ellison was mad when Richard bought this, or it came from a non-publishing disagreement store, which is probably the case. About 52% of the time Richard purchases these from Mr. Arn Johnson. Arn has a reputation of giving them back to the public. This is that. But the condition on the top is good. The trim is good, the brim is good, and the cream is clean. And let's check out the side. Top trim, bottom brim, middle cream, very good cream. A little dusty down here, but that's okay. And even on the bottom, top trim, bottom brim, middle cream. It's got a little cream there, but that's good. And on the side, of course, we have some rubber damage here. We have A Personal Matter by Kenzaburo Oi, and there is a bookmark library sticker here which signifies the genre, the year, and the date. Richard, oblivious to this, obviously didn't realize this when purchasing it, otherwise he wouldn't have done so. He usually perfects his pieces before he goes into the finalized purchase of a sandwich. Now, as we look at the back here, let's take a whole good look at the back here. We have the price up here, okay? And it says $7.95. That's a very appropriate price for the piece at hand. Richard worked at Topolex for about 16 years before graduating, and he understood that it was a very special Christmas, okay? It was a very special Christmas. And the barcode here undoubtedly is a little inappropriate in its placement, as you can tell. It's selectively dilated to the south and then pushed to the north. Dilated to the south and then pushed to the north. So the dimensions for the backside, nipple to nipple, bring down a sort of rotated fixture. A little messy, but Richard is willing to look past it. As for the condition on the back, it's nothing but close to heartedness, and it is a very attractive piece. The blending is very good, as you can tell. Now let's take a look inside. Okay, now you can tell here we do have a translator's note, which is very issued and very common on these Japanese publications after World War II, of course, to give a better idea and understanding of the actual philosophical elements that are pardoned and brought down into the subsidized culture of existential reality. This does have a postmodernist feel to it, and if we look in the corner towards the end for an official page count, we have 161. So you can officially say confidently that this page and this piece by Kenzaburo Oi is most doubtably a 200-page magnum opus titled A Personal Matter by Kenzaburo Ora. And of course, Richard had elevated his feelings to the next level after reading this piece in 2014. We're going to retract Richard's original statement to say that this had 2 thumbs up. It actually had 3 thumbs up. So thank you, Richard, for giving us this piece. 3 thumbs up for Richard. Very highly rated, very recommended. And this is an official Richard review here on richardreviews.com. This is A Personal Matter by Kenzaburo Oyo, translated from the Japanese by John Nathaniel. This is a Richard review. Thank you.